this is Tom Chown of Aubrey, Texas. Tom is your instructor in this video. He is a recognized leading trainer, leading showman, and we're going to produce this video that you're going to watch today on the basic skills of Western pleasure in both Aubrey, Texas and in Southern California. I might tell you that Tom Chown is absolutely somebody who grew up around horses. Everybody in your family, I guess, is in the horse business. Is that right, Tom?
Yes, it is.
In fact, I saw a picture of you at age 5 in a horse show on a cutting horse. Your dad told me that you fell off that horse before your 2.5 minutes was up. Is that true?
Yeah, I believe I did, if I remember right.
Well, all right, let's get into the Western pleasure basics, and I guess right now we'll head for Southern California.
Sounds good to me.
A little chilly around here anyway.
Let's go.
All right. Well, here we are in Southern California. This is the Rawhide Ranch near San Diego. And right now we'll go inside the arena and let Tom Chown start to tell us how he trains pleasure horses.
We're walking the horse down the rail right here. Horse seems to walk on a little too fast, so I'll drop a little bit of slack. Hey, slow down. We try to slow the horse down just a little bit. You don't want to break stride, but just to slow him down. This is mainly a preparation for the show. This is not exactly what we're doing in the horse show. We make the horse walk up into the corners. We make him back off the slack in the corners. So what we've taught him by backing off the slack, we can put right to work on the horse, preparing him to show. We go on back up in the corner again. We're going to back him off again, out of the corner. Then we're going to turn. We rein a little bit to the left, use our right leg and push the horse over there. Backing him back off with the slack again, preparing him to just think, listen to what we want him to do at all times. There is not any time in the arena that when I'm showing a horse that I want them to be interested in anything else but what I'm doing. And by doing it this way, we can teach a horse to listen to us 100% of the time, doing what we want him to do on command. We're going to back the horse back in the corner, just using these corners to where a horse gets to where he doesn't want to cut the corners on you, or going into the corner is safe for him. He'll feel at home being in that corner. So when you get in the horse show, the horse will go right down the rail into the corner. We turn the horse into the corner. Right there, she didn't pay attention to me, so I reached up and bumped her and made her pay attention. A little bit harder than what we'd showed you before, but when they don't pay attention, you need to move them over there. Now we're going to make her stay and do the same thing again, because I wasn't happy with what she did the first time. She didn't want to come around and go all the way into the corner. This time I'm going to make her push right on around and push her right up into that corner. That was a lot better. The mare responded much better. So we're going to walk on down the rail, go back to the walk, making her walk with the slack. We come on down the rail a little ways. We're going to start walking like we're going right straight into the other corner. The mare seemed to want to speed up, so I stopped her. Now this time, we backed her off with the slack a couple steps. Now we've side passed her away from the rail. Now we're going to change it up even more and turn her to the rail. By side passing her away from the fence to start with, I gained enough room where I could turn the mare to the fence instead of to the inside. Now we've side passed her back to the rail again. We're going to take her from here, make her walk on forward, go ahead and take her right off into the lope. Make the mare lope right on past the corner that we just worked in, come on down the rail, nice and easy. Now let's put together what we've done before with stopping her with the slack and backing her off. There we've gone through the corner all the way down the rail. We've stopped the mare with the slack and we've backed her off. We put our turns together on the rail, just like we can use them at the horse show. Do a half turn and we'll lope her off again. Lope right on around, make her go on down, right down the rail into the corner, just allowing enough room where it'd be a nice smooth corner. Right back to the rail again. We stop again, with the slack. This time right up in the corner though. We do not let her go on around the corner. She felt to me like she was wanting to cut the corner a little, so I make her go into the corner. Now I'll be backing her back out of the corner with the slack, turning her to the fence again. Notice my right leg there, pushing the mare over there, making her pay attention. In using our legs, we want to take our legs and use them in this manner to make a horse walk. We use one leg and the other leg at the same time, in and out, just like this. We are creating the horse, making the horse walk. This means walk. We stay with him all the time at the walk. Every stride he takes the same. Now we change from one to the other. This means trot. We use this way to make a horse trot and stay with him. If we want to make the horse lope on one lead or the other, we'll come back, use our legs at the walk. Let's say we're walking, we've got our legs that way. We want the left lead. We take the right foot, push it through him on the right side. He takes the left lead. Take the left foot, push it into his side. He takes the right lead. That will help you position the horse for motion. Okay, in cueing a horse to side pass, if we want to side pass to the left, we use our right leg into the horse's belly this way. Horse moves to the left. If we want to side pass to the right, we use the left leg into the horse. He side passes to the right. We'll use this in our tape and through our lecture for the side pass. This is the way we'll use our legs. Okay, let's get off of my horse, go over here, and this is my wife Carrie Chown, and let's help her with her mare a little bit. This mare we just got not too long ago, so she's going to be a little bit more of what you might have in trying to teach a horse that is broke to respond to the slack rein of backing, stopping, and turning. This mare has a few little problems that we'll work on that I'll help Carrie with here, but we're doing basically the same thing. Right now the mare's at the trot. We're going around. The mare's not wanting to cut the corners too bad, so we just keep on going around the corners. She doesn't know as much as the mare I just got off of, like I said. She's not paying attention as well right here, so let's stop her and back her up with the slack. And at this point she's not wanting to listen at all, so we're going to take a little bit more hold of her. We've asked her right here easy. Now we're going to take a hold of her just a little bit more and make her get back off of the slack. So we see we pick the reins up and we'll just pull on her. Don't turn loose of her, just pull her until she starts getting lighter and backs up. Then at that point we go right back to the slack. The mare right there, just before we picked up on her the second time there, she had a tendency to want to back up crooked, come off of the rail, so we just side passed her back. Now we're just getting her to pay attention there. The last couple times she backed her up. Just try to make her pay attention to that slack. Listen at all times. Like I said before, she's fairly new. We haven't had her all that time. Carrie's been working with her just a little bit. She doesn't pay attention all the time like we want. Now we'll go back to the jog again. This mare has a tendency when we'll do a lot of standing and then making her trot off. We do that because she does have a tendency behind to not trot up under herself as well as I would like. She wants to leave her hocks or her hind legs out behind her a little bit, other than reaching them up under her. Now Carrie goes on down the rail here. When she's in the corner, she comes out of the corner. The mare didn't want to cut the corner. She was fine. We'll just go ahead and let her go on around. Let her stay relaxed and quiet. Most of the time when we do this stuff with these horses, we try to keep them in a quiet manner. We don't want them to be riled about anything, so we teach the horse to move slowly from side to side, just like what she's doing with her here. She's teaching that mare to side pass all the way over in that corner, little bit at a time. One step, she lets her set a second almost, and goes again. Step, stop, step, stop. Making her think quiet and everything running together smoothly. So the eventual end is a nice smooth trot down the rail with her head in the proper position. This right here is where I like a horse's head. Their neck and their top line from their hip to their withers to their pole should be pretty much, if you watch right here, in parallel with the fence right on the other side of Carrie. When you have the top line from the hip to the withers to the pole in a parallel to the fence matter, their head position should be vertical with the ground. Now, in being vertical with the ground, that means it's straight up and down. I personally wouldn't mind having the horse an inch or two in front of the vertical, but I wouldn't want the horse behind the vertical, otherwise his nose too far in. This right here to me is the perfect head position for this mare. It looks good on her, it makes her perform in her best manner. Now we've stopped the mare again here. We're backing her off with the slack again just to make her pay attention. Carrie's going to side pass her away from the rail, which we did on the bay mare a little bit ago. Now this mare has a tendency to want to creep forward a little bit. If you notice when she started side passing her, she drifted forward. She started off right there. Carrie asked her to side pass back to the fence, and she drifted forward again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start all over. There she is drifting forward again. We take a hold of her back up, take the forward motion away from her, and side pass her to the fence. That time she started directly sideways with no forward motion. We didn't get after her in the mouth by taking a hold of her. Didn't do anything with our hands. It just was all with our leg. Now, when you're starting your horses to do that, when you drop your leg on them, if you don't cue them right with your hand by dropping the slack a little bit, they'll have a tendency to go forward. You're going to have to just work with that until they finally go into that side pass without that forward motion. If a horse has a tendency to want to go backwards when you start to side pass him, then you wouldn't want to use any slack drop with your hand at all. You'd want to just use your leg and let the horse go completely sideways. If he starts going forward, then you would drop the slack at that point and make the horse back off. Put it together piece by piece, one step at a time, sideways. Put your leg on him, they move a step sideways, stop. Put the leg on him again, they move sideways, and stop. Now we're going to work this mare a little bit on her turns here. Now notice the same thing. This mare's new. First thing she did was start to creep forward. Carrie stopped her. As soon as she started going forward, put her all back together again. Now she'll finish making her go the rest of the way over there with her front end. She still wants to creep out a little bit. There she finally stopped, but she's against the wall, so probably what you need to do with her then at that point is drop the slack like Carrie's doing right there, make her pay attention to you. Then ask her to turn the other way. This turn was a little bit better. The mare didn't move out forward. Her forward motion was left off. She went around and turned the way we want her to turn. There she is again, asking her to turn. Now she takes a hold of her because the mare had too much forward motion again. So we take her and stop her, back her up, and finish our turn. That mare turned that way that time, was a little too far away from the fence, so she went ahead and dropped her leg on her and side passed her the rest of the way to the fence. You put all these moves together, and it's just a drill for your horses. You can make them stop with the slack, side pass away from the rail, side pass to the rail, turn from the fence, turn away from the fence. It's just getting that horse mentally prepared to do anything you want him to do at any given time, relaxed and easy. Okay, when we're walking a horse around, I'm not really that interested in a horse walking fast or walking real slow. I just want the horse to walk, look free, and feel free. As far as having a fast walk, I probably would rather have a horse be on the slower side than the fast side, but either walk to me, as long as it fits the horse and it fits the go that the horse is having, is fine. We asked this mare to trot off here. She's doing what we talked about before. She has a tendency to not want to trot up under herself behind. Carrie picked up on her there and tried to push her together a little bit, and it didn't seem to really work. So let's stop her, take a hold of her there like she did, and back her up. Now let's go right into the trot from the standstill almost. I do that a lot on a horse that doesn't want to drive up either in the front or behind. If they're not quite bunched up in the way that you want them to be, then at that point, lots of times if you stop them and start them again from the almost standing still right into the trot, it'll have a tendency to drive them up. You do that a lot, and it'll make a horse trot off easier for you. It does work on this mare very well. As you can see right now, she's trotting a lot better. She's not got her hocks or her hind legs out behind her the way she did when she first started. Now Carrie does a lot of the same thing that I do with her legs and with her hands, and when she's coming down the rail, she decides the mare doesn't feel the same, so she stops her again. She's making the mare pay attention to her. The mare wanted to look off there a second. She dropped the slack, made her pay attention. Now, we'll stop her, give her something else to think about, so let's turn her again. Do your turns. Get her thinking about you. She's not thinking about backing off with the slack there, so we're going to take a hold of her and back her back off. In working with your pleasure horses, if they don't do one thing or the other thing quite the way you want them to do it, go to something else and maybe come back to it. The mare wasn't before trotting up the way we wanted her to. Now she trotted up under herself. She got where she was trotting up under herself real good. So Carrie did a few little extra maneuvers. She stopped her, backed her off with the slack, turned her one way, turned her the other way, side passed her back over to the fence, let her stand, let her think about it for a minute. We're not letting this mare at this point look off. She's not looking to the right, she's not looking to the left. There she started to. Carrie made her pay attention to her. So when we get to the point, when we ask her to go again, we just shove her right back off into the trot and see how the maneuvers and see if it all worked, to where the mare trots up under herself behind and starts looking and presenting herself the way we want her to. At this point right here, she looks about as good as she could possibly look. If we can get this mare to go like this all the time, I think Carrie is sure that she'll be in the top placings at most all horse shows with this mare. Nice flat-footed walk and relaxed. We're going to let the mare walk now on around the arena to the far end of the arena where we're going to pick up the lope. We've worked on the trot, we've worked on the walk. Now we're going to let her walk a little ways, like I said, and we're going to go ahead and lope. When the mare walks, same idea. We want the top line, as we talked before, parallel with the top of the fence. The mare's walking with her head right straight in front of her, not looking to the inside, not looking to the outside. She's not walking excessively fast or too slow. She's walking relaxed and at the speed that looks good for her. When Carrie comes on over to the far end down here, like I said, we pick up the lope. She'll prepare the mare to lope by picking up a little bit and then asking her with her right leg for the left lead. The correct lead going to the left way is the left. Okay, right here she starts making the mare pay attention, start listening, picking her hand up a little bit. She's cued the mare. At this point, she cues the mare with her leg, and she asks her to lope off. Now that mare picked her head up a little bit, bobbed her head just a little as she loped off, but it was acceptable. Nothing that you'd want to make a big deal about. As the mare gets more broke, as we spend more time with her, she'll get better. Right here at the lope, she looks good. She has a tendency to want to break. This mare has the tendency, like I said, to want to break, where when we're teaching her, if we start to do anything with our hands, she just automatically stops. So in trying to change that mare where she doesn't do that, the worst thing at this point we could do would be to just kick her in the belly and make her go, or get after her every time she stops. We're trying to get this mare to lope with the slack rein and lope freely and easy around the arena and slow. So if every time she wants to stop, we get where we start kicking her in the belly and making her go, it'll take this nice slow lope right here that you see and have a tendency to make her move on a little faster. You notice Carrie there tried to pick her hand up again that time, and the mare wanted to stop again. She went on, though, and didn't stop. Now here she stops again. Carrie just goes on, corrects her forward a little bit, no big deal. What happens if you, like I said, if you get to pushing them too much, they're going to gradually start going faster. This mare will learn on her own after a while to be relaxed and loping and not wanting to stop. So again, don't make a big deal out of it if your horse has a tendency to want to stop. This is really the way that you want them to be. It's a lot easier to move a horse up and ask him to go faster than it is to keep trying to slow a horse down, especially when we're trying to teach him to go with that slack and not touch his mouth and not have to pick up on him at all. So when we're going around at the lope, horse has a tendency to want to stop. Let's leave him to start over again. Don't make a big deal out of it. Now we'll go ahead and resume with the mare here. Ask Carrie to move her on up. Go ahead and walk a little bit. See if we can get her to where she'll start paying attention to us a little bit more, just letting her relax a little bit, see if her lope will get better. Okay, Carrie's walking her here. The mare wanted to look to the inside a little bit. Carrie picked her hand up, asked her to pay attention to her. Now she's picked up on her a couple times. Now she's going to ask her to pay attention, and this time when she loped her off, if you noticed before what I said, the mare was wanting to kind of pick her head up and bob her head up. So this time what we tried to do when we loped her off was hold on to her and make her push into that bridle. At the same time, if we hold on to her and push her into the lope, it should create a little more drive from behind and a little more momentum for that mare, so it will carry her through the lope possibly without stopping. So we've kind of created two things. We've got the mare where we're at the same time correcting her from bobbing her head and picking her head up when we lope off to putting a little more motion in her lope, which might carry her so she won't stop. We stopped her there, backed her up, again, just making her pay attention, trying to get her to where when we do ask her to lope, that she'll lope off and stay in the manner that we want her to stay in, with her head in the right position, her legs all going the same, and loping nice and smooth on the slack of the reins. Now Carrie, if you notice right there, did the same thing as she did at the trot. We loped the mare right straight off, almost from standing still. Same thing. It will cause the mare to push more behind. It'll cause her to lope better. Gives her more drive. Right here you can see that the mare, all the way around there to this point, the mare has loped a lot better. Now she wants to stop again. Carrie pushes her, corrects her with her legs, and asks her to go. The mare doesn't want to go. She stops, backs her up, corrects her, and starts her over. So if you do take a hold of them and they don't want to push into the bridle and lope off, stop, start over. Now at this point right here, she's letting the mare just kind of stand there a second and think. Now she's going to get her to where she's thinking more about her leg. We're going to side pass her way off of the rail, all the way over to the inside. In doing this, it should help the lope because the mare will start thinking about your legs again. So she'll quit stopping. She lets her stand there for a second, listens to what I'm telling her. I'm explaining the same thing to her at that point that I'm explaining to you. When that mare side passed right there, she had a tendency to want to side pass all in one move. And we had talked before how we wanted to side pass a horse step at a time. One leg, step, sideways. Another leg, step, sideways. Another leg, step, sideways. When Carrie put her right leg on her to side pass her to the left there, the mare just continuously went right out off of the rail. Now, at that point, she should have stopped and started over like she's doing right here. She's going to stop. She's moving the mare to the right. The mare wants to kind of go faster, so she lets her go a step and stops. She uses her left leg right here to side pass to the right. She stops her, uses her leg, she starts to side pass, she stops her again. She does it a lot slower, and a stride at a time puts her where she wants her to go. Now that we've got the mares listening to our legs a little bit more, let's walk her off on down the rail a little ways, let her think about it a second, and see what happens from there.
This is the bit that Tom Chown is using today. It's a typical Western Pleasure bit. Has a leather curb strap. And these three curb straps, the one on the right, chain being the most severe of the three. The center one, of course, is leather. And on your left, a chain curb strap that's wrapped with vet wrap to give it a little softer effect. And Tom is showing you the proper adjustment of a bit and the correct angle at which that curb strap should go into action. I'd like to show you that the methods that Tom Chown is showing you today for pleasure horses also worked very well on reining horses. This is Bob Chown. He's working this reining horse on a very slack rein. Just watch the action of the horse and watch those reins, and you'll see that even speed events are very effectively prepared for with Tom Chown's method of riding on a loose rein. And I might also add that this method is done without intimidation, which I think is very important. That horse likes to work, works very freely. You see him backing on loose rein again. Well, Tom, thank you. And our thanks also to your wife, Carrie, for assisting in this Western Pleasure film. I might mention to you folks that Carrie, while she's in this video taking a lesson, as you saw, she's a nationally known horsewoman herself, so she was kind enough to let Tom holler at her and tell her what to do for a while. And incidentally, if you have a question on the basics of Western Pleasure and you'd like an answer from Tom Chown, you get hold of us. You call the phone number or write to the address at the close of this video, and you will hear from Tom Chown. He will answer your question by mail or by phone. So lay it on him. Thank you.